So we wanted to talk about sort of like the gender pay gap, right? And sort of our
Mm-hmm.
personal experiences with it. And also just like titles and labels and stuff. So I guess
Yeah, what
continue.
people assume of us just
Yeah,
because we don't look like a 55-year-old white man or older person.
exactly. I'm super excited to kind of like dive deep in and sort of like dissect your recent experience, Eiko.
Yeah, I know, right? So basically, someone that I had been emailing requesting for additional information, he somehow got upset that I was asking him a lot of information that was based our right as a company to know, like for example, sales figures and how much inventory he has right now of our products. And basically he told the CEO, like, I can't work with this assistant anymore.
Get out.
Yeah. First of all, he had already been introduced to me as the COO of the company, right? So he's forgetting that conveniently. And the fact that he couldn't tell me that directly, like assuming that I'm the assistant, like, and then also just like even without the assistant part, right? Like the whole conversation was very polite. So and then obviously I wasn't CC'd on that email. And somehow he decided he didn't want to work with me anymore. So just given, what happened the week before where I was introduced as the secretary for the guy that, I do report to him. My role is kind of like the COO for that as well for this client. And so to be introduced as the secretary is not only makes me feel like I'm not valued or not contributing as much as I should, or that's just me blaming myself, right? Like, am I doing the right thing? No, like I'm doing the right thing. It's just people assume that certain things about me. There are many great assistants and secretaries out there, and they do a really good job. And it's just that I cannot do my job as the COO type of person if I'm introduced as someone who's secretary, because you have this difference in information and just things that I do, which is mostly a lot of negotiations, just don't work out if people see me as someone who's doing more scheduling or the other stuff. So
Exactly what we talked about last week, right? Where, okay, titles, sure, okay, whatever. It shouldn't bother us, it shouldn't be a thing. But from the outside looking in, it does hold weight and it does change the perception that somebody who doesn't know you and doesn't know like exactly what you're doing inside the company perceives
right.
you as, right? You can't do your job when other people aren't using the correct titles to describe what you're actually doing. And so it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm like super curious to hear how the conversation with the CEO went, because I remember last time you were talking about bringing that up to him.
I know,
And it's
I
like
know.
no other, like that's the perfect example, right?
Okay, so not to make any excuses, I have not talked to the CEO yet. This is because I need to find the right time for him to be able to accept that this had happened. And unfortunately, he has been super, super busy with stuff. We haven't even talked at all since this happened. And like, I will talk to him, but I think this is something that, if you don't experience it yourself, if you're not somebody who's been on this receiving end of this type of treatment, it's hard to understand why this is even an issue. So, I've been trying to figure out, what the best way to deliver this is and like what the right way to do it is. But I'm definitely going to do it. I just have to do it. And I keep telling myself, if I don't do it, like, not only am I doing a disservice like to me, but it's not helping anybody else either. I feel very fortunate enough to actually have those roles. It's just, my recent issues have been around the title. Me as somebody who's actually able to have access to the CEO is something that I make sure I address and not let it like disappear. Mm-hmm. So yes, okay, keep asking me about that, and I will report back.
Totally. I'm definitely going to hold you accountable. Also, I'm going to point out something in like what you just said. You're like, I think you said like, I'm lucky or I feel privileged or something to even have this title. And I feel like that's something also that like women tend to say or feel, right? It's like, I shouldn't even complain because I'm lucky to even have this, right? Because I'm saying this only because I catch myself doing that as well. And you and I talked before, right? Like, oh, like, we're lucky that we have clients, right? It's COVID. People are like on furlough. People don't have jobs, right? Like, we're lucky. Yes, like there is that element of gratitude for sure. And I'm like a whole hard believer in having an element of gratitude. And there's like a fine line of how do you distinguish between gratitude because you're a human being and because you have water and you have roof over your head and you are getting paid for skills that you put energy and time to develop, and putting yourself in more like an inferior position by saying like, I'm lucky to even have this. It's like, no,
right.
You work hard. You're smart. You're talented. You work hard, right?
Yeah, right.
And like you have the experience to back it up, right? And so I'm not like grilling you because like it's like I'm grilling myself.
No, grill me.
Because like I hear it's just like I catch it because I hear that in my head and I have to like catch myself too. So like when other people, especially when I hear like smart, talented friends that happen to be women in high powered jobs, it's like I immediately sort of like, oh, like, no, don't say that, right? If you were a man, would you say that? Like I feel like
I know.
that's a COO job, right? No, like I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there, but the majority, it's like no, it'd be totally flipped, right? It's more like I deserve this and like this more, like, entitlement, you know.
Right.
Of course, like not everybody's different, everybody like, you know, but I'm just saying like general trends from my own experience as well, conversing with multiple people. That's just something that like I caught too.
That's true. Yeah, I know. You know, because I think in my mind that, oh, I'm very fortunate, lucky, whatever. But I also, that's a product of years of hard work and years of kind of fighting through the system. And doesn't make the current situation any better or any worse. It's just like, you know, I have to face it as what it is and like, okay, I need to actually confront this and not shove it to the side or that's something I have to address.